Admiral Park Jinwoo was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started screaming. He almost dropped his cup as red lights flashed across Luna Station's command center. The coffee was good today, which made the interruption even more annoying. "Sir, we have contacts," shouted Lieutenant Kim down from his station. His voice cracked a little. "Lots of contacts." Park walked to the main screen, still holding his coffee. He had been running Earth space defense for 10 years. Nothing surprised him anymore? Or so he thought. The screen showed space around Earth. Hundreds of red dots appeared, surrounding the planet like angry bees around a hive. Each dot was a ship. Big ships. "Really big ships? How many?" Park asked. 237 ships, sir," Kim replied. "The biggest ones are 3 times larger than our cruisers." Park nodded slowly. He had expected this day would come. Humanity had just learned to travel faster than light 3 years ago. They had built 12 colonies on nearby planets. It was only a matter of time before they met someone who did not want neighbors. "Any communication attempts?" he asked. "Not yet, sir. They just appeared and formed battle lines." The ships arranged themselves in perfect rows. It was like watching a parade. Except each float could destroy a city. Park had to admit it looked impressive. Someone had spent a lot of time practicing this formation. Captain Lee Sumin's voice came through the radio from her ship, Soul's Pride. "Admiral, are you seeing this light show?" "They really want us to notice them," Park smiled. Sumin always found humor in bad situations. It was why he liked having her in his fleet. "I see it, Captain. Very fancy." The largest ship moved forward from the formation. It was massive, like a flying mountain made of metal and weapons. Lights blinked along its hull in patterns that probably meant something important to whoever built it. Then the communication came. The main screen flickered and showed a creature that looked like it came from humanity's worst nightmares. It had gray skin, 6 arms, and eyes that glowed red in the darkness. Behind it stood dozens of similar creatures, all wearing armor covered in spikes. The creature began to speak. Its voice was deep and scary, but its English was terrible. "Primitive humans, look upon the mighty Caltharian Empire. I am Emperor Vexthal, the Conqueror, destroyer of 1,000 worlds." Park raised an eyebrow. The Emperor paused dramatically, like he was waiting for applause. "You will surrender your pathetic worlds and serve as our slaves. Your ships are weak, your weapons are toys. You cannot resist our power." Another dramatic pause. The Emperor spread all 6 arms wide. "Bow before us or face total annihilation." The transmission ended. The command center was quiet for a moment. Everyone stared at the screen. Then Captain Lee Sumin's voice came through the radio again. "Sorry, did you get all that? I think I missed something between pathetic worlds and the part where he threatened to destroy everything." Park pressed his communication button. "What did you miss, Captain?" "Well, sir, I was too busy trying not to laugh when he did that thing with his arms." "Did he practice that speech in front of a mirror?" Lieutenant Kim started to giggle. He tried to stop, but it was too late. The giggle became a laugh. Soon, half the command center was laughing. Park keyed his radio to broadcast to the entire human fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Park. Did everyone receive that interesting introduction?" Responses came in from all over the fleet. "This is Captain Jang Hinwoo on Incheon Freight." "Sir, was that supposed to be scary?" "Because my 5-year-old nephew makes better monster faces. Captain Rusunho here, Admiral. I think they're compensating for something with those big ships." "This is Dr. Choi Houn on the research vessel." From a scientific perspective, that was the most dramatic overacting I have ever witnessed. Park listened to his captains making jokes about the alien emperor. He should probably tell them to be more serious. This was a potential war situation. These aliens had enough firepower to destroy Earth's entire fleet twice over, but he could not stop smiling. "Captain Lee," he said into his radio, "would you like to respond to our new friends?" "With pleasure, sir." Sumin opened a channel to the alien fleet. Her voice was cheerful and friendly, like she was talking to an old friend. "Hello there, Emperor ... Vexthal, was it? This is Captain Lee Sumin of the human ship Soul's Pride. we received your message, but we had some trouble understanding it. She paused, and Park could hear the smile in her voice. Could you repeat the part about total annihilation? We could not hear you over the sound of your ship's engines compensating for something. The communication channel filled with laughter from the human fleet. Every captain and crew member was listening, and they all thought it was the funniest thing they had heard all year. Park added his own comment to the broadcast. Also, Emperor, that dramatic pause before total annihilation was perfect. Did you take acting classes? Because the timing was excellent, more laughter filled the radio channels. Park looked around his command center. His officers were trying to look professional, but they kept breaking into grins. The alien ship sat in space, silent. No response came from the Emperor. Park took another sip of his coffee. It was still good. Maybe this day would not be so bad after all. Sir, Lieutenant Kim said, what do we do now? Park thought about it. The smart thing would be to prepare for battle. The aliens clearly wanted a fight, but something told him that fighting might not be necessary. We wait, he said, and we see if our new friends have a sense of humor. On the main screen, the alien ships continued their perfect formation, but Park noticed something interesting. A few of the smaller ships had moved slightly out of line. Just a little bit, like their captains were not paying complete attention anymore. Park smiled and took another sip of coffee. This was going to be interesting. Emperor Vexful stared at the communication screen in his throne room. The transmission had ended, but he could still hear the human laughter echoing in his mind. In 10,000 years of conquest, this had never happened before. General Krosmer, he called to his military advisor. Explain to me what just occurred. The general approached the throne carefully. His 4 eyes looked confused. My lord, I believe the humans are using some form of psychological warfare we have never encountered. Psychological warfare? Vexful's voice rose. They were doffing. Yes, my lord. It must be a strategy to confuse us. No species has ever responded to our intimidation displays with humor. Vexful had conquered 47 worlds. Each time, the pattern was the same. He would arrive with his massive fleet, make his demands, and the primitive species would either surrender immediately or fight hopelessly. Fear was his greatest weapon, but these humans were not afraid. They were making jokes. Perhaps they do not understand the situation, suggested Commander Talvex from his position near the door. Their technology is primitive. Maybe they cannot comprehend our superior firepower. Then we will show them, Vexful decided. Destroy something. Make them understand what we can do. On Luna Station, Admiral Park watched the alien ships move into a new formation. 12 of the large vessels surrounded an old mining station on a nearby asteroid. The station had been abandoned for 6 months when the miners found better deposits elsewhere. Looks like they want to show off, Captain Lee Sumin said over the radio. All ships pull back to safe distance, Park ordered. Let's see what they've got. The alien ships fired together. Bright beams of energy struck the mining station from all sides. The structure disappeared in a flash of light and floating debris. It was gone in seconds. Park had to admit it was impressive. Those weapons could destroy any human ship with a single shot. Then Lieutenant Kim Dowan's voice came through the communication system. Kim was aboard the research vessel Bizon Explorer, studying asteroid formations in the area. Wow, Kim said, his voice full of fake amazement. They can blow up an empty building. My nephew does that with firecrackers in his backyard every summer. The other human ships responded immediately. This is Captain Jang Hyun-woo. 12 ships to destroy one small station. That seems like overkill, or maybe they were scared it would fight back. Captain Rusung-ho here. I've seen construction crews do more damage with bulldozers. Dr. Choi Houn was aboard the research vessel studying the aliens. She had been recording everything since they arrived. Now she started broadcasting live commentary like she was watching a sports game. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just witnessed 12 advanced alien warships demonstrate their incredible ability to destroy an undefended, unmanned structure. Notice the careful coordination required to ensure the abandoned mining station posed no threat to their formation. Her broadcast was being sent to Earth and all the human colonies. Millions of people were watching. The tactical brilliance of using overwhelming force against a stationary target really shows the military genius of the Caltharian Empire. I'm sure the mining equipment put up quite a fight. On Earth, people were recording Dr. Choi's commentary and sharing it on social networks. Within an hour, the alien demonstration had become the most popular video on the human internet. Someone created a slow-motion version showing all 12 alien ships firing at once, with circus music playing in the background. Another person made a comparison video showing human construction crews demolishing old buildings. With the caption, "Humans do it faster with fewer ships," the memes started appearing everywhere. Pictures of the alien emperor with quotes like, "I destroyed an empty building and all I got was this stupid crown." Images of the alien ships with arrows pointing at them saying 12 ships, 1 target, 0 brain cells. Emperor Vexthal watched the human social media feeds that his intelligence officers had decoded. He did not understand most of the jokes, but he could see the pictures. His face was everywhere, and the humans were laughing at him. "My lord," General Krosmer said carefully, "perhaps we should make our demands more clear. They may not understand what we want." Vexthal stood from his throne. His 6 arms trembled with anger. "Send them another message. Make them understand that we are serious." The communication screen lit up again. This time, Vexthal tried to look even more threatening. He had his guards arrange themselves in more intimidating positions. "Foolish humans, you mock what you do not understand. We have destroyed worlds, we have enslaved entire species. Your jokes will not save you when we harvest your organs and enslave your children." He paused for effect, his red eyes glowing brighter. "You have 24 hours to surrender completely. Submit to the Caltharian Empire or watch your pathetic world burn." The transmission ended. Vexthal was pleased with his performance. Surely the humans would understand now. On Luna Station, Admiral Park was reading the latest memes on his tablet. When the second message came through, he watched the Emperor's threats with interest. "Sir," Lieutenant Kim said, "he mentioned harvesting organs and enslaving children. Should we be more concerned?" Park thought about it. "Kim, have you seen the state of our healthcare system lately?" "Yes, sir, it's pretty terrible. And our education system?" "Also not great, sir," Park nodded. "So if they want to take responsibility for health care and education, maybe we should thank them." Captain Lee Suman's voice came through the radio. "Admiral, did he just threaten to enslave our children? Has he met any children lately? My 7-year-old could probably negotiate a better surrender deal than this guy." Dr. Choi Houn was still broadcasting her commentary. "The Emperor has now escalated to specific threats about organ harvesting. From a medical perspective, I should point out that human organs are probably not compatible with Caltharian biology. This seems like poor planning on their part." The live stream had millions of viewers now. Comments were flooding in faster than anyone could read them. "Maybe they want our organs because theirs don't work properly? 24 hours? That's not even enough time to properly surrender. What kind of deadline is that? I like how he assumes we'll just sit here waiting to be enslaved. Has he never heard of Netflix? We have shows to watch." Park decided it was time to organize their response. He called a meeting with all his ship. "Captains, all right, everyone," he said over the fleet communication system. "Our alien friends want a response. Let's give them one they'll remember." The human fleet began to coordinate their next move. But it was not a military strategy they were planning. It was something much more dangerous to the Caltharian Empire. It was a comedy show. 24 hours was not a long time to plan the surrender of an entire species. But Admiral Park was not planning to surrender. He was planning something much better. "Operation Roast is now in effect," he announced to the human fleet. "Oh. Captains, check your messages for the response guidelines." Park had worked all night with Dr. Choi Houn and Captain Lee Sumin to create a handbook. It contained jokes, Comebacks and Timing Suggestions for Dealing with Alien Intimidation. The title was How to Make Galactic Bullies Cry, A Human Guide to Cosmic Comedy. On Earth, the alien ultimatum had become the biggest news story in human history. But instead of panic, there was excitement. Comedy shows were having special episodes. Social media was exploding with jokes. Everyone wanted to see what would happen next. Comedian Yoon Tae-ho was hosting a special midnight show called Earth's Last Laugh. His opening joke went viral instantly. So the aliens want to harvest our organs. Have they seen our healthcare system? Good luck with that warranty, buddy. Sorry, your harvested liver came from someone who ate fast food for 30 years. No returns. The audience laughed so hard that some people started crying. The video was shared millions of times across human space. News anchor Song Minji was trying to deliver serious updates, but she kept breaking into giggles. The Caltharian Empire has given humanity 24 hours to surrender, she reported. Earth's official response, according to the UN Security Council, is new phone, who dis? She paused to compose herself, then continued. In related news, several Earth governments have started offering the aliens tourism packages. Come for the conquest, stay for the terrible customer service, reads one advertisement from the Mars Tourism Board. Emperor Vextal was watching human broadcasts from his throne room. He did not understand why the humans found everything so funny. His threats were real. His weapons could destroy their entire planet. My lord, General Krosmer said nervously. The deadline approaches. What should we do if they refuse to surrender? Then we will show them true fear, Vextal replied. Prepare for planetary bombardment. But even as he said it, Vextal felt uncertain. Something was wrong. His own officers were acting strangely. Some of them had been watching the human broadcasts, too. He had caught several of them trying not to smile. The deadline arrived. Emperor Vextal opened communication channels to Earth, expecting to receive their surrender. Instead, he got Captain Jang Hyun-woo of the cargo ship Incheon Freight. Hello there, Emperor. This is Captain Jang speaking for humanity. We've considered your generous offer of slavery and organ harvesting. Vextal leaned forward on his throne. Finally, they would surrender. We have decided to make a counteroffer, Jang continued cheerfully. How about you leave peacefully, and we'll give you a 5-star review on Galactic HFY. Great special effects, excellent dramatic timing, but the customer service needs work. The Emperor's eyes began to glow brighter. You dare mock the Caltharian. Empire? Mock you? Oh no, we're not mocking you, Jang replied. We're roasting you. There's a difference. Mocking is mean. Roasting is what you do to friends? Other human ships joined the conversation. Captain Rusing-ho added. Besides, your ultimatum had some logical problems. You want to enslave us and harvest our organs, but dead people don't make good slaves. Did you think this through? Dr. Choi Han was still broadcasting live. Her viewer count had reached 50 million people across human space. The Emperor appears to be experiencing confusion, she commented. Notice how his eye color changes when he's angry. It's actually quite beautiful. Like mood ring eyes, but scarier. Captain Lee Sumin joined in. Emperor, can I ask you something? Do you have a plan for after you conquer us? Because running a planet is really hard work. There's taxes and infrastructure and education systems. It's like being a parent to billions of really annoying children. We do not want to run your planet, Vextal shouted. We want to destroy it. Oh, said Captain Jang. Well, that's different, but why? Did we do something to upset you? Because if this is about that time humans invented reality TV, we're really sorry about that. The human fleet was coordinating their responses perfectly. Every joke was timed. Every comment was designed to make the Emperor more frustrated, and it was working on the Caltharian ships. Something strange was happening. The junior officers were starting to question their orders, not because they were rebels, but because they were embarrassed, Commander Talvex reported to his superior. Sir, the humans called our battle formation adorable. They said we look like angry penguins. Lieutenant Corvash approached his captain nervously. Captain, the human Dr. Choi says our ship designs are aggressively compensating for obvious Insecurities, what does that mean? Several Caltharian ships were having communication problems. Their captains claimed they could not receive orders clearly. In reality, they just did not want to participate in what was becoming the most embarrassing military operation in galactic history. Emperor Vexthal was losing control of his fleet, and he knew it. His officers were distracted. His threats were not working. The humans had turned his invasion into entertainment. He decided to make one final threat. Something so terrible that even these strange humans would have to take him seriously. Foolish humans, you leave me no choice. I will destroy your moon. Watch as your tides disappear and your nights become dark forever. He expected screams of terror. He expected desperate pleas for mercy. Instead, he got Captain Rusungho again. You know the moon controls our tides, right? Destroy it and you'll mess up our beaches? Do you really want to be known as the empire that ruined beach season? Captain, Lee Sumin added, also, my daughter's science project is about lunar phases. You want to explain to a 7-year-old why her homework is impossible now? I do not care about your child's homework. Vexthal stammered. Wow, said Captain Jang. You're going to make a little girl cry over a school project. That's really evil, like cartoon villain evil. Dr. Choi Hound provided scientific commentary. Destroying Earth's moon would actually cause massive environmental problems. Tidal changes, climate shifts, ecological disasters. It seems like the Emperor hasn't considered the long-term consequences of his actions. She paused thoughtfully. From a psychological perspective, this suggests poor planning skills and possibly some anger management issues. Emperor Vexthal sat back on his throne. Nothing was going according to plan. His threats sounded stupid when the humans explained them. His mighty fleet looked ridiculous when they described it. His entire invasion had become a joke. And the worst part was, he was starting to see why it was funny. He looked around his throne room. His guards and advisors were trying not to smile. Even they thought this was becoming ridiculous. For the first time in his long life, Emperor Vexthal the Conqueror began to doubt himself. Commander Talvex stood in the communication room of his warship, staring at the message he was supposed to send to the human fleet. His captain had ordered him to demand tribute payments from the humans. Gold, rare metals, and cultural artifacts, but Talvex did not want to send the message. 3 days ago, he had been proud to serve in the Caltharian Empire. He was part of the most feared military force in the galaxy. Now he felt embarrassed to wear his uniform. The humans had called their battle formation adorably threatening, like angry penguins. Talvex had looked up what penguins were. They were small earth birds that waddled around and looked serious but harmless. He hated to admit it, but the comparison was accurate. Commander, his communication officer said, the captain is waiting for your transmission. Talvex sighed and opened the channel to the human ships. Human vessels, this is Commander Talvex of the Caltharian warship Doom's Edge. You will deliver tribute to the Empire. We demand gold, rare metals, and examples of your finest cultural artifacts. The response came from Captain Jang Hin-woo of the cargo ship Inshin Freight. Oh, tribute! Why didn't you say so earlier? We'd love to pay tribute. Will you accept payment in exposure? You guys are getting great publicity from this whole invasion thing. My mom called me yesterday asking if I got the Emperor's autograph. Talvex blinked his 4 eyes in confusion. Exposure? You know, publicity, fame, you're all over our social media. The Emperor's dramatic speeches have millions of views. You're basically celebrities now. Other human ships joined the conversation. This is Captain Rusungho. We could set up a merchandise deal. T-shirts with the Emperor's face, coffee mugs with his best quotes. I will harvest your organs would look great on a breakfast mug. Captain Lee Sumin here. We could arrange a galaxy tour. The Emperor could do his intimidation. Speech at different planets. I bet the Centauri colonies would love to see it live. Talvex looked around his communication room. His officers were trying not to laugh. Even his own crew thought this was becoming ridiculous. He closed the communication channel and called his captain. Sir, we have a problem. The humans are treating our demands as a business opportunity. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Ojisu was giving interviews to news stations around the planet. She was a psychologist who specialized in group behavior, and everyone wanted to understand what was happening to the aliens. The Caltharian Empire has built their entire identity around being feared, she explained to a room full of reporters. For thousands of years, they've conquered other species through intimidation. Fear is their most important tool. But what happens when that fear becomes laughter? Asked one reporter. Dr. O smiled. Their whole worldview collapses. It's like realizing the monster under your bed is actually just a pile of laundry. Once you see it clearly, you can't be afraid of it anymore. She pulled up images of the Caltharian fleet on her presentation screen. Look at their ship formations. They're designed to look threatening, all sharp angles and dark colors. But when the humans pointed out that they look like angry staplers and flying office supplies, the intimidation factor disappeared. So the aliens are having an identity crisis? Another reporter asked. Exactly. They don't know how to handle a situation where their enemies are not afraid. Some of their ships are already showing signs of breakdown in military discipline. Dr. O was right. Across the Caltharian fleet, discipline was falling apart. On the warship Eternal Fury, Captain Morketh had ordered his crew to prepare for bombardment of Earth's communication satellites. But half his crew reported sick that day. They did not want to be part of what the humans were calling the galaxy's most embarrassing military operation. On the flagship Dominion's Wrath, Emperor Vexthal was losing control of his own officers. General Krosmer had suggested they withdraw and find an easier target. My lord, perhaps we should reconsider this invasion, the general said carefully. These humans are unusual. We do not retreat. Vexthal shouted, The Caltharian Empire has never retreated. With respect, my lord, we have never encountered anything like this before either. Commander Talvex sent another report to his superiors. Sir, the humans have started a betting pool on how long it will take us to leave. The current favorite is 2 more days before they give up and go home. Several Caltharian ships had developed mysterious technical problems. Their engines were making strange noises. Their weapon systems needed maintenance. Their communication arrays were malfunctioning. In reality, the ship captains were embarrassed and wanted an excuse to avoid participating in the invasion. Emperor Vexthal decided to make one final attempt at intimidation. He would show the humans something truly terrifying, something that would make them understand the power of the Caltharian Empire. He ordered his fleet to arrange themselves in the formation of ultimate doom. It was the most feared battle formation in galactic history. 200 ships arranged in perfect geometric patterns, their weapons all aimed at Earth. The formation took 3 hours to complete. When it was finished, it was genuinely impressive. Even the humans had to admit it looked scary, but then Dr. Choi Hound began her live commentary. Ladies and gentlemen, the Caltharian fleet has just completed what appears to be an extremely complex geometric pattern. From a mathematical perspective, it's actually quite beautiful. It reminds me of a mandala or perhaps a snowflake. She paused to check her calculations. The precision required to maintain these positions suggests excellent pilot training and communication systems. It's really a testament to their organizational skills. I wonder if they do this for festivals too. Captain Lee Sumin added her own observation. It looks like they're trying to spell something with their ships. Is that supposed to be a skull? Because from this angle, it looks more like a flower. The human comments began flooding the communication channels. It's very pretty. Did they learn this in space dance class? How long did they practice this? It must have taken weeks of rehearsal. My daughter says it looks like the pretty pictures in her kaleidoscope. Emperor Vexthal watched the human responses from his throne room. His ultimate formation of doom had been compared to a child's toy. He slumped in his chair, all 6 arms hanging limp at his sides. General Krosmer, he said quietly, how did we get here? The general did not have an answer. On Luna Station, Admiral Park was watching the alien formation with genuine admiration. It was beautiful in its own way. The precision was remarkable, but he also noticed something else. Several of the alien ships were slightly out of position. Not by much, but enough to show that the formation was not as perfect as it appeared. The Caltharian Empire was breaking apart, one joke at a time, and they all knew it. Emperor Vexthal sat alone in his throne room, staring at the reports from his fleet commanders. Half of his ships were requesting permission to return home for urgent maintenance. The other half were reporting crew morale problems. The humans had destroyed his invasion without firing a single shot. "My lord," General Krosmer entered carefully, "the fleet is awaiting orders." Vexthal looked at his oldest advisor. Krosmer had been with him for 300 years of conquest. They had destroyed worlds together. They had built an empire together. "What would you do, old friend?" the Emperor asked quietly. Krosmer was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "I would go home, my lord. Before this gets any worse." On Luna Station, Admiral Park was watching the alien fleet through his office window. The ships were still in formation, but barely. Several had drifted out of position. Others were moving restlessly, like they could not decide what to do. "Sir," Lieutenant Kim entered with a report, "we're detecting movement in the alien fleet." "It looks like they might be preparing to leave." Park nodded. He had expected this. The aliens had been quiet for 6 hours. No threats, no demands, no dramatic speeches. That was usually a sign that bullies were getting ready to find easier targets, but Park was not quite finished with them yet. He opened a communication channel to the entire Caltharian fleet. "Emperor Vexthal, this is Admiral Park Jinwoo of the Human Colonial Defense Force. Are you leaving us so soon?" The response came after a long pause. The Emperor's voice sounded tired. Double quotes, "We are conducting strategic repositioning." "Oh, is that what we're calling it?" Park replied cheerfully. "Because it looks like you're running away." Captain Lee Sumin joined the conversation from her ship. "But you haven't even seen our welcome party yet?" Before the Emperor could respond, the human fleet began to move. But instead of attacking positions, they arranged themselves in a line like they were greeting honored guests. Then the music started. Captain Nam So-young of the battleship Gwangju Guardian had connected her ship's communication system to Earth's classical music database. The entire human fleet began playing circus music over open frequencies. "Ladies and gentlemen," Captain Nam announced like a sports commentator, "we are witnessing the strategic withdrawal of the mighty Caltharian Empire. Watch as they demonstrate the ancient military tactic known as running away with dignity." The human ships began performing synchronized maneuvers while the music played. They spun and danced around the alien fleet like they were celebrating. "Notice the careful formation flying," Captain Nam continued. "These humans have clearly practiced this welcome ceremony for honored guests who are definitely not fleeing in embarrassment." Emperor Vexthal watched the human ships dancing around his fleet. Part of him wanted to order an attack. His weapons could still destroy them all, but he was tired of being a joke. "All ships," he commanded, "prepare for hyperspace jump." "My lord," Commander Talvex called from his ship, "what should we tell the other worlds? How do we explain what happened here?" Vexthal considered this. How could he explain that the most feared empire in the galaxy had been defeated by laughter? Tell them ... He paused, thinking. Tell them the humans are too dangerous to conquer. It was not exactly a lie. As the Caltharian fleet powered up their hyperspace engines, Communications Officer Kang Min-hee sent one final message from Luna Station. "Hey, Emperor Vexthal, don't forget to leave us a review on Galactic HFY. 5 stars for entertainment value, but the intimidation service needs work." The last thing the Emperor heard before jumping to hyperspace was the sound of human laughter. 6 months later, the story of humanity's victory had spread across the galaxy. Other species began using what they called the human defense strategy against Caltharian threats. When the Empire tried to intimidate the Rigel colonies, the colonists responded by asking if the Emperor needed a hug. When they threatened the Vega trading posts, the traders offered to sell them better speechwriting services. The Caltharian Empire's reputation was ruined. Species that had been paying tribute for centuries suddenly stopped. Several worlds declared independence, citing the human precedent. Emperor Vextal was forced to abdicate after a vote of no confidence from his own generals. The New Caltharian government sent an official apology to humanity, along with a request for comedy writing lessons. Dr. Troy Hound published a research paper titled, Weaponized Humor: How Laughter Defeated the Galaxy's Most Feared Empire. It became required reading at military academies. Across human space, the paper concluded, humans possess a unique ability to find humor in even the most serious situations. This trait, previously considered a weakness by military strategists, proved to be humanity's greatest weapon against psychological warfare. Admiral Park kept the Emperor's original surrender demand framed in his office. Below it was a plaque that read, "The day the galaxy learned that humanity's greatest weapon is not our technology or our courage. It is our ability to make anything, even galactic conquest, absolutely ridiculous." The Human Colonial Defense Force created a new training program called Combat Comedy. Officers learned how to use humor to defuse tense situations and break enemy morale. Captain Lee Sumin was promoted to admiral and put in charge of the program. Her first lesson was simple. When someone tries to scare you, ask yourself one question. Is this actually scary, or is it just someone having a bad day and taking it out on everyone else? On Earth, comedy shows still made jokes about the invasion. Yunteho's special, The Day We Roasted an Empire, won awards and broke viewing records. Children learned about it in school as the war that wasn't. Teachers explained how sometimes the best way to deal with bullies was not to fight them, but to help them realize how silly they were being. The Caltharian Empire never bothered humanity again. Neither did any other aggressive species who heard the story. Not because they were afraid of human weapons or human soldiers, they were afraid of human comedians. And in a galaxy full of serious, scary civilizations trying to intimidate each other, that made humanity the most dangerous species of all. Because you cannot conquer people who think you are funny. The universe had learned an important lesson. Never underestimate a species that can turn your worst day into their best comedy show. Humanity had won the galaxy's respect not through fear, but through laughter, and that victory would last forever.